So welcome to Early Care Connection. I'm Izzy Greenberg. Today we are joined by our typical panel of experts, Meryl Gay from the Connecticut Early Childhood Alliance and Ava Bermudez-Zimmerman from Child Care for CT. I'm going to start actually by saying a little bit about interpretation. Sandra, our usual interpreter, is having some health issues and will not be able to work with us moving forward for the time being at least. So we have a new interpreter, Alba. So I want to first welcome Alba, and second, just I guess tell you all that Sandra needs some prayers. So well, we've been working with her for a while, and so I just really want everybody to send her good wishes. Okay, everything chokes me up, you guys. Anyway, welcome, Alba. Thank you so much. Here we go. Yeah, great. All right, so we have a lot to talk about this morning. We are back on a regular schedule. We meet Mondays now, 9:30 every week, except holidays. So we will have Indigenous People Columbus Day off, and we are looking for the topics that matter most to you all. So you can put them in the chat. You can always email us at info@earlycareconnection.org. You can email any of us personally as well, but please let us know what topics you need to hear about. Saying that, today's topic comes directly from requests from you guys. People have been sharing difficult stories about insurance for quite some time with us. And so we wanted to make sure that we were able to have the real discussion that was needed. So I'm actually going to turn it over to Meryl to introduce our guests and sort of contextualize what we're doing here today. So Meryl, turning it to you.
Okay, well, thank you. With us today are the co-chairs of the Legislature's Appropriation Committee, Senator Cabrera and Representative Wood.
Sure.
Wait, hold on.
The wrong committee.
Insurance? What did I say?
You said appropriations. You meant insurance.
Okay.
Oh,
we all know you know
what you meant.
Insurance. Yes, insurance committee. I've been typing insurance all day, but I have. So I have been hearing from providers, usually when they come up for insurance policy renewal, about carriers dropping them, carriers leaving the market, and rates going really high, having to take a huge deductible in order to get a policy at all. What insurance brokers are telling providers is that the online licensing files, when OEC comes out and does a licensing inspection, all of that is now available online. And certainly the feeling in the field is that there are frequently minor things that get written up as a licensing violation that the provider can fix that afternoon. And they're showing up, and insurance companies are simply counting how many violations there are and not making any kind of assessment of, whether that is a minor issue or a major issue. So let's let our guests introduce themselves, and then let's hear from the community. And Ava, do you want to add anything before we do that?
I have so many stories, so I'll contextualize as we go to fill in. Yep.
Okay.
If Senator Cabrera or Representative Wood, if either of you would like to jump in and introduce yourselves, and that would be awesome. Representative Wood, maybe I'll start with you.
Hi, everybody. Good morning. Thank you so much for having me. And I appreciate everything that your team here is doing for our state. I'm very much aware of the issues that you all are dealing with, and our committee is very committed to solving problems for you. In fact, we had a wonderful bill that passed the House this year that would have allowed the insurance commissioner to do a study on the feasibility of allowing you all to pool your risk regarding liability and engage with our captive insurance industry, which under the direction of Senator Cabrera and myself has been actively expanding here in the state of Connecticut. So we have an industry that is growing and expanding and really offering solutions in a space where traditional insurance has been failing. And that's, you can think of things like climate change as well. But here in the space that you're working with, there is increased risk from traditional carriers in this space. And that being said, what we wanted to do was engage our local industry, allow a new product to be offered to you. And I will tell you that you have my commitment to push this bill forward again. And we have been working on some solutions kind of off season so that we don't have to wait for a special session or a future session. But I realize that the need for a solution is now, and you have my support to trying to work with you on finding something sooner rather than later. So thank you so much for having me, and I look forward to hearing from everybody.
Thank you. Senator Cabrera, are you available to introduce yourself? I know you're off camera and I'm worried you may be driving or something. He is here. Okay, let's see. Maybe actually, is anyone here? He may be not in the feed. Hold on.
I see
Can
him
you,
in.
yeah, because I can see him there as well. Senator Cabrera, are you able to introduce yourself? Okay, I think there's just a connection issue, but for now, let's just say thank you for being here and welcome to both Senator Cabrera and Representative Wood. And we're really happy to be able to, it's almost like a, folks think about this as like, not public hearing style, but just like, if this is a moment for you, you have a minute, maybe share your stories if you have them. And I can see a ton in the chat already, folks who have been dropped, folks whose rates are astronomical, where certain things got separated out. And I am going to just invite you all. I see that there's a lot in the chat, but I'm going to invite you all as well to raise your hand, and we can call on you and get you to share your story that way. So while we're waiting for folks to do that, Meryl, why don't you just get us started with the kinds of things you're hearing about, maybe, what you kind of envision for, yeah.
So I've heard providers who said that their policy was canceled and then they were scrambling to try and find a new carrier, that their carrier had just left the market altogether. I've had providers tell me that their rates were doubling, and that on top of that, they had to take a $50,000 deductible, which felt a lot like going without insurance at all. And I'm seeing in the chat the separation of the regular liability policy from a sexual abuse and molestation policy as a separate policy that was costing them $9,000, which, while that was a big hit, they were getting other quotes as high as $15,000. So just those kinds of issues. So if there are other folks who would like to share their story, just please raise your hand and we can call on you and let you talk.
Ava, I'm also going to turn to you next as well to just give us a little bit of context here.
To add some more scary examples, I've heard examples, and I saw in the chat just now, providers who are home-based providers losing their homeowners insurance because of finding out that they have a childcare space there, and then losing both. So I've heard examples of the homeowners insurance finding a search, doing a search, and then figuring out that they're a childcare space and then dropping them, and then scrambling the homeowner slash childcare provider, scrambling to find homeowners insurance in addition to liability insurance. I've also heard liability insurance that was combined with homeowners insurance, where, you know, the lucky few had both in one with one company, and then abruptly that company deciding they're dropping both policies. The also extreme example of the liability insurance being dropped midway through a case. So the provider paid X amount of years for this liability insurance to this said company, and then they had a claim, something simple, no big, and then somehow the company wiggling out of that agreement and dropping them in its entirety. A lot of tears, a lot of hardship, a lot of scary moments when you're trying to run a business.
Representative Wood?
Yeah, in addition to sharing your stories with us, I was hoping that people could also fill me in on if anything is being relayed to our Department of Insurance Consumer Affairs Division, if any providers have engaged with them either to find solutions or to hold the insurance companies accountable. I have asked the department to start to track this data specifically, and you know, having them be aware of this is really important, because when this issue first started coming up, I mean, who even knows to go to the insurance department, right? So what happened was, when I first heard about this about a year ago, I went to the insurance department and said, hey, can you guys give me the data on, you know, dropping daycares, dropping home-based daycares, other things. And there was like no data, because consumers weren't complaining. And I'm not saying that's, you know, a bad thing. I think it's people just don't understand that you can use the insurance department's consumer affairs division. I'd be happy to share that link with people. But the more we engage the insurance department, I think the better it will be for Senator Cabrera and I going forward, because we can point to specific cases. And the insurance department, by the way, is the regulator. So I saw in the comments, someone said, well, the insurance companies can do this because they can. Well, they can't just do whatever they want, because the regulators are the insurance department. And if they're breaking the law, the insurance department can hold them accountable. So I just wanted to put that out there and to see if anyone has had a positive experience with our insurance department.
Yeah. Great, thank you. And I have put that into the chat so folks can respond there as well. Mary Cecchinato, I see that your hand is raised if you want to share your story with us and any information you have.
Good morning, everybody. Here, I'll look at my, oh, okay.
We hear you fine.
I don't know where my picture is, but that's okay. Just so you know, we did contact the insurance regulatory group 2 years ago when we had a policy, the same company that we had for years. Then we had a issue, and then the insurance company settled the issue, and then they dropped us. And they did find another company for us, which we were paying like $3,400, I think, and it went up with this new company to almost $9,000. I did have somebody call me from the regulatory group from the insurance, and they also called our insurance agent, but I never heard anything more after that, having done that. And from what I've heard from others with the insurance company is the insurance company doesn't even look at the violations when they go online to see what's going on. They just look at the numbers, and they don't even look at what the violations might be on the licensing information.
So that may be what Virginia is talking about in the chat, where she says they were dropped due to licensing violations, which were not serious, like a light bulb that was out or a chair that was broken in a classroom. Mary, does that sound about what you're talking about?
I believe so. This is what just I heard from other people. I don't know it for a fact, but I was told that companies are, and from my insurance person, that they are dropping them just from looking at the regulations or your violations.
Got it. Thank you for that. Senator Cabrera, this would be a great time for you to be able to introduce yourself. I know there was an audio issue before, so if you would like to do that before we continue.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
Yes.
Awesome. Sorry about the mix up in the beginning. I don't know why that happened, but I'm on now. Thank you all for doing this. I'm really eager to learn some of the experiences you're having with dropping and changing of coverage. And if I could, maybe at some point, for me, I know for Representative Wood, it would likely be helpful as well, is to have like a spreadsheet or some kind of way to catalog all of the things we're going to hear today, specifically reasons that were given in writing by a carrier for either dropping or changing, if at all. That would be helpful for me too. But I have been hearing smatterings of things that people have been dropped or threatened to drop unless they change or increase deductions and premiums. So I'm very much eager to learn more about what you all are experiencing, because the work you do is so important. So
Thank you.
thank you for having me. If I missed anything, I'll try my best to catch up.
No problem. You didn't. It's great.
Okay.
So next I'm going to call on Susan, who had has a really interesting perspective and some good comments in the chat. And after that will be Rocio Pena. Okay, Susan, go ahead.
Hi, Izzy, can you hear me?
Yes.
Hi. So I was trying to find some of my emails with my insurance provider. It looks like in the spring of 2024, in April, she gave us a notice. She said, wanted to give you a notice of non-renewal that are coming from Nationwide. This has nothing to do with your school in particular. It's about their new stance on what types of businesses they're willing to insure, and daycare centers don't fit into their new category. So they're canceling all the daycare centers. And then she said she's going to figure out with other companies. The only drawback is that they have a problem providing $1 million in abuse and molestation coverage. So while their premiums are better, we're not going to get what we need. So we were dropped by our first company. We obviously have new policies, but our sexual abuse and molestation coverage became a separate policy. So a lot of the things that were sort of lumped together got split out. And that policy alone, that's the one that I noted is about $9,000 a year. So our total insurance went from about $22,000 a year for everything to about $30,000 a year for everything in 1 year.
It's a pretty big shift.
Huge.
Yeah. Yeah. And then Susan, wasn't there also something, let's see, did you also say something about the let's see, as a Yale affiliated program?
Yes.
Yes. So some of the programs can't get the amount. Can you go into that a little bit?
So we have agreements with the university to be an affiliated program. They take care of our buildings and such, and they decide how much insurance we're supposed to carry. Programs have had a hard time getting the amounts that Yale requires. Now, I've spoken to some of my colleagues and they have said, well, we can get the amounts, but it like doubles their insurance cost. Yeah. So we're not, what we used to be able to cover at a reasonable amount, we can't anymore. Okay. So a lot of programs, I fear, are either underinsured always or underinsured at least temporarily. And I don't think either of those are good ideas.
Right. So. All right. Thanks so much, Susan. Representative Wood, can you tell us, Maggie's asking what the bill number is for that bill that passed through the House but didn't make it beyond that?
Sure. It was HB 7079. And we worked with the Nonprofit Alliance and others to try to get this, moved, because it would have been an option starting next year, early next year, which again, I know that talking about insurance is complex and, there's just a lot that goes into it. It's not just a simple fix, but a captive insurance company is really kind of insurance of risk. So I know that sounds like, hey, what the heck does that mean? But it's really a solution that's being used across the board to fill gaps in risk, which is really, you know, what insurance is. And we used it successfully in the crumbling foundations issue with the state. So just briefly, there were probably upwards of 20 to 30,000 homes that would have been worth $0. And the state stepped in and created a captive insurance company and allowed homeowners to, you know, use kind of this insurance policy through the Crumbling Foundations Fund to fix their homes. And so that's the model that we were thinking of for the liability issues that you all are dealing with, which is stepping in where the traditional insurance market cannot. And you know, listen, it's being done across the world to address some of these issues. And a lot of these companies are based right here in Connecticut. So we thought it was a interesting, and by the way, really outside the box and first in the nation, solution for this. But I'm going to continue to push this forward and, again, working outside of session on trying to get a boots on the ground jump on it for next session. So that's what we're thinking. And with any sort of captive insurance model, we would need to have a funding source as well. So we would need a commitment from our friends on the Appropriations Committee, to help fund something like that. But this is a very worthy cause. I don't think there's a legislator out there that wouldn't support funding this type of thing because the need is extremely vast. And we obviously just put $300 million in state funds into, supporting the childcare industry. So we would be happy to do that. So I think that the moment is now to jump on this, and I'll continue to work on that. So that's HB 7079, and I'm happy to answer any other questions on the details.
Yeah, and I did put that in the chat. And also Maggie Adair from the Office of Early Childhood said that they have met several times with representatives from the Department of Insurance and are having ongoing discussions. So that's just a message from them. So we are, the next comment is, the next story comes from Rocio Pena. I think I mispronounced that. And this would be a good time. I believe Rocio is a Spanish speaker. This would be a good time for folks to double check your interpretation settings and be sure that you are in the English or Spanish feed, whichever you prefer. Okay, Rocio, you are welcome to share your story.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Rocío y soy educadora de Liability. Yo tuve mi seguro Progressive por 8 años y en el 2024 ellos vinieron a hacer la inspección a mi casa, revisaron todo. Yo tengo una póliza independiente para mi daycare de 3 millones y aún así ellos me negaron la renovación. Cuando yo hablé con la especialista del seguro, ella me dijo que Progressive en el 2025 se iba del mercado porque estaba teniendo muchas pérdidas por muchos reclamos. Intenté buscar más seguro y todos los seguros eran duplicados o triple la póliza. Igual yo tengo 2 propiedades de renta donde tengo inquilinos que tienen daycare y también me pasó lo mismo con otra compañía de seguro. Me duplicaron el monto del seguro.
Thank you for sharing that. I don't know if you guys have any comments on that before I unmute or mute Rocio. Any questions?
I'm just curious before, for Rocio, what options do you have now? Are you covered now? Were you able to figure it out, or you're just, I'm just curious.
Sí, yo tuve cobertura, pero pago el triple por la cobertura del seguro de mi propiedad. Y también con muchas limitaciones. El seguro a cada rato está viniendo, ¿qué están haciendo? Realmente State Farm me dijo que si yo sabía cuánto costaba la vida de un niño.
Okay. Thank you, Rocio. And then Maria put in the chat that she's having a lot of problems, that her insurance company, Connecticut Fair Plan, covers her business. But when she had a problem with the leak in the daycare center, they said it wasn't covered. She did end up going to the Women's Business Center for help with roof repairs. But if you can't find insurance that will cover you and cover you for the things you actually need, then you're paying for something that doesn't provide value or benefit to you. So she's requesting specific insurance for childcare businesses, would reduce the frustration, would keep children safer, and would help to cover actual expenses as they arise, excuse me. Ava, did you have a question? I'm sorry, your hand was up.
I just wanted to take the time to say thank you to Representative Wood, Carrie Wood. She had a hard stop and she let us know ahead of this time, but still made the commitment to be on this call. And all of the wonderful things that Senator Cabrera and Rep. Wood said about their passion, enthusiasm to really give time to this community. For those who are on this call, who, you know, don't have the chance to physically go to the Capitol during hearings, but get to testify online, I cannot let you know enough how real the words from Cabrera and Wood are. Both are. They are there. They have taken the time out to meet with Meryl, myself, and other lobbyists and advocates many times on different versions of insurance for this community. And I just wanted to give my gratitude.
Yeah, thank you. And Representative Wood, we will be, we are recording this, excuse me.
Great.
And so I can see there's 4 other hands up. And so we'll send you the recording once it's available.
And Meryl and Eva have my cell phone number. So if anyone needs to contact me, I saw that Office of OEC was on. I am literally working on this issue constantly. My next call is actually on another issue, you know, related to insurance. So we're doing the work now to prepare for the next session. So don't wait until we're in session next spring. This is the time to get the work now, to get our bills drafted and ready for, you know, immediately taking out in public hearings next year, which, as we all know, is a short session. So our time is even more limited, but nothing can be more important than this topic. Thank you so much for having me, everybody. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much.
Bye-bye.
And Senator Cabrera, we're grateful that you can stay on for a little while longer. We do have a few more hands up and would love to just continue if you're okay with that.
Yeah, I'm fine with it. I've got some time this morning, so I'm all ears.
Perfect. Okay. Jade Thomas, you're next, and then Amy Donegan. Jade, go ahead.
Hi, good morning. Hopefully everyone can hear me okay. My name is Jade Thomas. I work as a policy specialist at All Our Kin. We support home-based childcare providers throughout the state. And I'm actually a resident of Hampden, Connecticut. I really appreciate Ava naming that this is an issue for family childcare educators as well. And it's not just the liability insurance piece, it's also homeowners insurance. I wanted to take a second just to elevate some of the things that I've heard recently from educators regarding liability insurance and homeowners insurance. One is that it's a challenge to find companies that will cover them in general. I've also heard of educators who have had insurers no longer cover them because they actually no longer cover family childcare programs entirely, similar to what other folks have shared. There's also issues with rising rates. And then also, as other folks have shared, companies are using reported violations to cancel policies despite there being really minor compliance issues. And then lastly, I just wanted to name, and I'm sad that Representative Wood had to jump because it's related to HB 7079. I think the bill currently calls out nonprofits specifically. I just would name that a lot of family childcare programs operate as for-profit entities. So just would name that. I'm not sure if HB 7079 as written would actually provide any benefit to those folks just because of the way it's currently written, but I can follow up with Representative Wood maybe offline about that. Thanks, Izzy.
Great. Thanks so much, Jade. Senator Cabrera, are you aware of that, whether that distinction was in the bill or?
I think she's right. I remember talking, I don't know if it was Jade or someone else about this, but that's something we can definitely work on, and I work on Representative Wood on it as well. Because that did come up, vaguely remembering that being an issue.
Yeah, great. Thank you. Okay, Amy Donegan, you are welcome to share your story.
Hi, thank you so much. I had spoken with Meryl about a month ago regarding my concerns with liability insurance. We've been in business about 32 years, 33 years in Brantford, and after about 20 years, we lost our insurance to a very actually good inspection. I mean, we're never going to walk away with no violations, and it was a very good inspection, and I felt good about it. And then lost my insurance as of 22 years. I got a number of quotes. Some of them were double, close to triple of what we were currently paying. I finally got one with an insurance company that does childcare, and was a reasonable cost. However, I've just recently heard that they dropped someone for an actual insurance, like they had a flood, they ended up dropping them. So my concern is that couple of things, that the pool of providers, as discussed, is getting so much smaller and the rates are going to be incredible. I also have a concern, which I discussed with Meryl, about the way the violations are being written. And I know we're talking about like how to look at that, but I'll give you a personal example. Just recently, I had a really good inspection. I really walked away feeling really good about it. It was my unannounced. But one of my babies had a jersey knit sheet. The sheet was the right fitting sheet for the crib. It was a tight fitting sheet, but it was that jersey knit material. And I got a violation because there was a wrinkle in the sheet. And I understand all the back to sleep, the SIDS, we follow all of the rules. And so it was written up that way. And I have to say, I'm very concerned that come liability insurance again, they're going to look at that little wrinkle in a sheet that was not near the baby's head. It was a tiny little wrinkle, and say, oh no, they had a SIDS violation. Again, it was the right size sheet. It was tight fitting, but it got written up as a violation. And that is a big concern for me, that come April, when we are up for renewal again, we're going to be down and maybe paying double or triple if we find an insurance company. So I think it hits on two levels. I think it hits on a lack of companies doing the insurance, but then on top of that, the way the violations are written, I think if they're just quickly looking at that and not reading what the actual violation is, it's a huge concern to us who are doing the right things and not putting kids at risk. So I don't know if anybody else has feedback like that, but I have insurance now, but I do have some big concerns. Thank you for your time.
Thanks so much, Amy. And did you say where you're located?
Brantford.
Did I miss it?
We're in Brantford.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yep. And everyone here, if you all could just keep in mind when you put things in the chat to put them to everyone, because at the end of this, I would love to be able to take the public chat and share it again with our legislators. And if things are only to panelists, it doesn't show up in the public chat. So just a reminder to everyone to make sure you're posting to everyone when you post it.
Yeah. Izzy, I'm sorry to interrupt. I have
Please.
Could I jump in with a quick question for Amy?
Yes.
Amy, thanks for sharing your story. I just have two questions.
Sure.
One is, when you were the first time that your insurance carrier dropped you, or you have to drop them because it increased the premium, did they cite any specific reasons in writing as to why? And then secondly, the folks that are coming in and doing these inspections, can you give me any sense of like their training or qualifications, or what you're communicated? How are they communicating to you about the people that are coming in? Like, how are they? What metrics they're using, and as well as like any kind of like training or any like education background on this? How are they doing? How are they assessing it? Are they just like communicating that to you at all? Like saying, hey, we're looking for these things, and these folks are experts in X and coming in.
So so I was given it in writing that it was due to violations, minor violations. I also believe I've heard that that particular company is no longer pursuing childcare, so I think that they are trying to get rid of all their childcare clients. As for my inspector, I mean, she was fantastic. I have no concerns with my inspector herself. She did her job. And it was a fantastic inspection, and she agreed, you know, it was probably like the type of material that the sheet was made of lend itself to a wrinkle. And I agree, I don't disagree. And we had the next day that parent bring in a cotton sheet that fit much, you know, a different type of fit. But my concern is then when it's written as a violation, even though it was corrected by that, actually it was corrected that day. That child had another sheet in their cubby box. I replaced it and told them not to send the other sheet home, not to send it back. It was replaced that day, but that violation is there, even though it was corrected immediately. And that's more my concern, is that that will be there when we get re-inspected. Yeah. But in terms of the inspectors, and I'm sure that OEC will answer on this, they have their list and they have their trainings and then their list on things that they look for. And so while the thing that she cited me on, you know, was part of the license, my concern is that because it was fixed immediately, it doesn't matter. It still will be a violation that then the liability insurance could look at. And if you're not reading the details of it, you're going to be like, whoa, SIDS violation, where the inspector and I looked at it and said, oh, it's a tiny little wrinkle in the sheet, just put a new sheet on, it's fine. So it's not their fault. It's the way the OEC has been doing it for years. But I do think the way insurance is looking at it now is looking to drop us for anything. And so my concern is that I will be dropped because of that.
Gotcha.
I'm just gonna add a comment to Amy. I
Hold
just
on,
have to
let me just
step
say,
in.
we're gonna go to Ava, and then Rosalie, you'll be next.
And Rosalie and Ann, I'm sorry to skip my turn. It's just very, it has to do with Amy's comment. 5 years ago, they did the Office of Early Childhood did a regulation review, as they do every so often. And one of the changes that they did in their rules was that they shifted to leaving any comments during an inspection, a licensing inspection, to stay on forever. It wasn't like that before. So, Senator, what Amy's referring to of like small infractions and the details, sometimes I'll use a comparison of like when you're driving and your driver's license, if you have smaller infractions like a parking ticket or, you know, something happens, there's some that don't show up in points, right? Points in your driver's license, and it won't lead you to being arrested or losing your license. Other larger infractions like, you know, driving under the influence, obviously there's points lost, and then you lose your license, it escalates. In childcare licensing, there is no point system. There is no, you know, analyzing who made small mistakes, who made big mistakes. It's forever. So if you've been a licensed provider, center, home base, and you in the course of 30 years, 40 years of having a business, and some providers do last that long, you will see every single thing they've ever done in their whole entirety of their career. You make that information whatever you like with it.
Yeah.
Personally, I think it's unfair.
Right.
That's good to know. Thank you. Yeah.
Thanks for Ava. You're always welcome to jump in. That's host privilege. Anytime. Rosalie, thank you so much for sharing your story. You're welcome to join us.
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre es Roseli Ortiz y mi family daycare está ubicado en West Haven. Tengo 2 años prácticamente con el daycare abierto y 6 años con mi casa y el mismo seguro de casa. En el mes pasado me llegó una carta de que ellos no iban a renovar mi seguro, que se vence en octubre 2025, el mes que viene, por incumplimiento de normas, pero no especifican cuáles fueron las normas. Hasta el momento yo no he tenido ninguna incumplimiento por la OS por el que ellos quizás me pudieran haber se pudieran haber negado a renovarme el seguro, pero ellos se niegan totalmente a renovar para el próximo año. Entonces, me he dirigido a varias entidades, por ejemplo, State Farm, que es, la han mencionado aquí, y el costo es totalmente el doble de lo que yo pago por el seguro. Algunos me han dicho más del doble, el triple o el doble. Entonces, sí me gustaría que si hay alguna que tiene alguna opción a la que yo puedo llamar o comunicarme para seguir investigando a ver cuál es más conveniente, aunque todas han dicho que están totalmente caros, me la escriba. A pesar de que yo tengo el seguro para el daycare, como quiera, el costo es muy elevado, muy elevado. Yo tengo el seguro para el daycare de Asture, pero ellos no toman en cuenta eso. Aunque yo tenga el seguro para el daycare, como quiera, el costo es demasiado elevado.
All right. Thank you, Rosalie. So just to be clear, when they told you that you had violation, they didn't tell you what they were. They were dropping you because of violation, but they didn't make it clear what those violations were.
No, ellos se refieren solamente a incumplimiento, pero no dicen cuál es el incumplimiento. Por un lado, en un lugar, en una parte, ellos dijeron que yo había hecho un reclamo, pero yo nunca he hecho reclamos a este seguro. Nunca he reclamado para reparar nada ni nada.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Okay, let's see. Next up, we have Ann Evans. You are welcome to join us.
Hi, how is everybody?
Good morning.
My stuff is going along the lines of everybody else as far as being raised in the premium, but it's not just family daycares or group home daycares. I have a daycare center that's connected to my home. You can't get to it from my home. You still have to go outside and go into it, but because it's connected to my home, the home insurance that I used to pay like $750 for is now up to almost $5,000. Last year, when they were assessing everything, they sent drones around, and the drones were taking pictures of the house, and they would report back that, oh, you have moss on your roof and things like that. And I mean, I went and hired somebody and got the moss washed off and so on and so forth. But they also do look at your, I think her name was Jade, that said about the when the licensors come and they write you up. Why do they not then, when you correct it, send that information out also? Because like maybe it was Amy, she said that, it was corrected right away. I've had things corrected within minutes of her walking out the door, but because it's left on the paperwork, like Eva said, it's there forever. And I've been in business for 32 years. So it goes way back, but yet, it's still there. There's got to be a way for OEC to, if you're going to write us up, then unwrite us up when it's fixed, because we send in the paperwork saying that we've corrected it, but that doesn't go anywhere except into, I guess, OEC's whatever, wherever it goes. I don't even know. But the problem is not just, like I said, with family daycares or group home daycares. Mine is a daycare center, licensed for 20 kids, connected to my house, and I'm in the same boat as everybody else. And everything is just getting raised beyond, you're licensed for 20. That doesn't mean that you have 20 children. So the prices are astronomical at this point.
Yeah. Thank you for that, Anne. Also, just a reminder to folks, Michelle Cook is now the Office of Early Childhood Ombudsman and is a person who can potentially be an intermediary for some of this. And so just wanted to remind you all that you can get in touch with her She actually had reminded us to remind you all that you can get in touch with her for some of these difficult cases, and we'll put her email into the chat for you guys. I think it's one step that you can take. So, Ava's going to share that now. And also, I'm looking here at something that Robin put in the chat, which is that that her violation was a bottle of bleach and water on a high shelf above the diaper table and not having it locked. It's no longer a violation as long as it's not accessible to children, but I'm losing my insurance because of it. And the public notice of violation says safety violation, which could be anything. So they're now scrambling to secure a new policy in the next 3 weeks. So, you know, these are really tough stories. Amy, did you have more that you needed to add in? See that your hand is still up. And since I'm not hearing from you, I'm guessing that's an accident. Okay, Maggie, I'm going to invite you in. Maggie Adair from Office of Early Childhood.
Sorry, it must have been by mistake, but Michelle, Cook, and I are online. There may be other OEC staff as well. So we are taking notes and listening in very carefully. We will take these concerns back to our licensing department. And also that we've been aware of this problem for like a good year. We've met several times with staff from the Department of Insurance. We have not come up with a solution. I'm not promising that we have the world here. But we also know that there's legislation in House 5003. So there is ongoing discussion, and it will be in more concentrated discussions this fall. But we definitely are taking notes and listening.
Thanks, Maggie. Yeah, I appreciate that. And Ava just shared Michelle Cook's phone number and email address in the
Thank you.
In the chat. We are at 10:20. I'm just doing a time check here. We're going to wrap up at 10:30. Mimi has her hand up, and I'm going to welcome you to join and share your story, but also to let you all know that if you have something you want to say, now's the time to raise your hand. Mimi, you're welcome to join us.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So I just wanted to make it known that because of the violations I had, that the companies that were looking at me, several of them turned me down. So, and the violations were like minimal. We had a new fence put up, and the screws were, according to Office of Early Childhood, was inserted the wrong way. So we had to put covers on them or reverse them and have them going out the other way. That was one violation. Another violation was we needed to put the straps on the sheets for the infants sleeping area. So those are like minor violations that had nothing to do with the ratio or those kinds of things. And so being rejected from the insurance company had a lot to do with the violations. And so if you guys can think about how we can fix that, I would appreciate that.
Thanks so much, Mimi. All right. Any other last call on hand raise? Last call if you want to share your story verbally. I know we have a lot in the chat as well. Senator Cabrera, I would love to give you the last word in that case. It sounds like everybody, and also let me tell you that every single person, we've got about 100 well, it's actually been more than that, somewhere in the 150 to 200 range of people kind of coming in and out this morning. And I'm going to remind you that every single one of them is probably taking care of children, running a center, holding a baby while listening, has this in an earbud while they're, feeding someone. It is not easy for any of the people who have shared their stories this morning to make the time, one, to be here, and two, to even come, off mute to be able to do that. So thank you to everyone who has done that, and to everyone who has even had the time to put it in the chat. I know that that you and Representative Wood are open to hearing these stories. So I guess my questions for you: one, welcome to give responses, but two, what are the next steps, best ways either to get in touch with you, or what do you want people to do next?
Yeah.
I know you're going to take these messages and do your work, but what else can our community be doing to support this issue, having a faster resolution? Because it's, it's great that we've passed incredible legislation, but if people can't stay open because they can't get insurance, we're undermining ourselves. So yeah, curious about your response.
Thank you, Izzy. Yeah, thank you all for doing this, and to Eva for reaching out. These stories are important. I'm glad everyone found time today, and I know you're juggling lots. For me, I think about my own experience trying to navigate childcare. So I'm a father of twin boys, and we had a really hard time finding childcare for them when they were young. I'm married to a school teacher, so you could imagine what she looks for when she runs into the facility is very different from what I don't understand at all. But we visited probably 10 to 12, and finally landed on one that was costly, but it was that they gave great care to our boys. And you're 100% right. We're with the governor's proposal, we've done a lot to help give children an early start. So it's frustrating for me to hear some of these things about how insurance carriers are jacking up the price of care, in so many cases dropping. So I really want to tackle this. I know Rep. Wood and I have talked about this briefly. What I would say is we have a special session coming up. There is a possibility that we can try to pursue something there. I've got to talk to Rep. Wood and others, but what I would say to all of you is to keep speaking out, keep advocating, keep telling your stories. Rep. Wood and I are going to talk, but I think also like being mindful of going after and speaking to leadership in both chambers is going to be important. And so I will be happy to discuss with any of you doing something to shed a light on this. There's been some kicking around about maybe some type of public forum or a press conference where people can tell their stories, because I bet a lot of people don't realize to what degree this is happening and how it's impacting our ability to implement the policies and the big bill, especially the childcare bill that we did. So I am all ears. Please see me as a partner. I learn always from these interactions, and I want to keep learning some more and see if we could find a way to make this a lot easier for all those who are giving so much of their energy and time to help our kids.
Yeah, thank you. And as a reminder to you, this call, which has we have like 4,000 people on the list for this, and we get anywhere from 100 to 500 or 600 every week, and it just depends on the topic. But this is an active forum for you to use if you need it. This is, we have childcare providers and advocates, home-based, all kinds of providers here every week. And so, every Monday at 9:30, anytime you need to tap into this community, please see us as a resource for you, because it's on their schedule. We know they can do it. So
thank you.
So
That's
welcome back anytime you can make it.
Thank you very much.
Thanks so much, Senator. Okay. And before we wrap up for the day, first, I just want to turn it over to Meryl for a quick federal update.
Okay, so the federal government has a deadline of September 30th, the end of this month, to pass a new budget or a continuing resolution to keep the government open. Right now, it is unclear what is going to happen. There are negotiations about things like the Child Care Development Block Grant, the Head Start allocation, all of those federal child care bills happening within the context of Democratic legislators feeling like, can we trust this administration to do anything? If we negotiate something in good faith, are they going to turn around and do a rescission and take that money out before after we've done a good faith effort to negotiate something? So it's unclear whether or not the government the federal government will continue to be in business after the end of the month. There may or may not be a continuing resolution, and we'll see how that all plays out.
Thank you. Ava, do you have any updates before we jump off?
Block party, block party, block party. We're gonna party October 19th. It's real. Check out childcare4ct.org to participate. Senator Cabrera, you're here, so you get to hear the invite directly from us. So we're gonna be celebrating the passing of the awesome childcare bills that happened this year. And we want legislators, parents, and providers to come and attend, bring their family members. It's a free event. It's going to be on Orange Street, the section of Orange Street in New Haven that's already blocked off in front of Barcade. There's going to be games, DJ, face painting, and food on October 19th from 3 to 6 p.m.
Great, thank you. And just to let folks know, I did share something in the chat. Circle, one of our partners, members, has asked us to share. They have an event happening October 25th. It looks really excellent. I don't think it actually shows you the flyer, but if you click that JPEG that I shared, you'll be able to get the flyer for that if you're interested in it. I couldn't find it on the link on their website, so just download the flyer and it tells you how to get in touch. Ms. Mia, if you have a link that lets people sign up, you're welcome to share it in the chat as well. And I did post the direct sign up link for the October 19th Victory Bash. All right, I think that's it. 10:30 on the button. Thanks again, everyone. Have a wonderful week, and we will share you all we'll see you all next week. I'll leave this open just for 1 minute so Ms. Mia can share that direct link. Thanks, everyone. And thank you, Alba, for providing interpretation today.
Just a second. Good.
Have a great day, everyone.
Getting off of it. Yeah. No,